Mga Nation, 9 times out of 10, most people file for bankruptcy or Chapter 13 in order to keep their home. But here's the crazy thing. Majority of those fall out and the person filing ends up losing their home in the end. Shocking, di ba? Well, marahil hindi pa natin lubos na naiintindihan kung ano ba ang BK13. That's why we have Rob and Ning today with a special guest to talk about this topic. Attorney Carl Siegelman, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right. And we want to know, Rob and Ning, how common this issue is from what you've seen in the market.
Well, very common, Rob, JC. Maraming mga clients ang na-encounter natin na it's either nasa bankruptcy sila or they're thinking of filing bankruptcy 13 para to save their home.
Okay.
Merong mga tao na natapos na yung bankruptcy 13 pero they're coming back and trying to figure out what they have to do with their property after the fact.
Okay.
So, you know, nakakalungkot yun kasi ang bankruptcy 13 is not like, it's a plan from 3 to 5 years. Hindi siya madali. It's a long process and kind of like we're dragging ourselves into the situation na at the end, malalaman natin, ay, mali pala yung decision ko.
Yeah. Attorney Carl, from the people that you've spoken with and the cases you've dealt with, what are the more common or most common misconceptions about BK13?
Well, Chapter 13, for some people, they think of as their only alternative. And as Ning indicated in her comments, unfortunately, we find that when people are coming to us after they've already been through the process, that they're looking and evaluating some of the issues that they should have thought about at the beginning, and instead they're talking about it and consulting with people at the end. It is a powerful bankruptcy process that does benefit certain people that are positioned to do the bankruptcy, and it is a 3 or 5 year long-term financial restructuring. So for the right clients, it can be a solution, but it's the people that don't evaluate all of their options at the beginning that sort of fall by the wayside.
Yeah, which is why week in and week out, Robert, like we preach on this show and on this segment that they have to call you first before making any decisions because they just need to hear at least a second voice.
Yeah, right? Absolutely, because as Attorney Carl was saying, JC, there are a lot of options, right? I mean, someone really needs to see how long they're going to be in their home. As you've heard, it's 3 to 5 years to do a bankruptcy 13, right? There's a lot of government programs that take care of underwater properties, and if you don't explore those options and you go straight to BK 13, that's sometimes puts you in a very bad situation.
Okay, let's put this in more tangible terms. Attorney, you have an example here on the graphic for us. Why don't you walk us through these numbers here?
Well, this scenario, the client has a property that has a first position mortgage of $400,000 and a second position mortgage, probably a HELOC that they got for $100,000, but the property is now currently only valued at $300,000. So they're underwater by a large amount. If they otherwise have evaluated their options for whether they want to retain the home, whether or not Chapter 13 is viable for them, and they go into a Chapter 13, one of the tools that Chapter 13 does give them is the ability to strip that second mortgage off the property. That is, that not only do they not owe it, but they eliminate the lien on the property, so when they exit the bankruptcy in 3 or 5 years, that they only have the first mortgage.
Okay, so what happens to that first mortgage now?
It remains intact, and if they had arrears when they initiated the bankruptcy on the first mortgage payments, they either have to catch up on those payments in the Chapter 13, it's part of the payments that they're making during that process, or they sometimes can try to manipulate a loan modification at the outset of the bankruptcy, but that can be a challenge, and it's not something mandated by the bankruptcy code. It's something that they have to work on independently or with a team of people like Rob and Ning that will assist them in doing that.
Okay. And from what you've... go ahead.
Let me just say na, ang karamihan na pagkakamali is, akala nila, pagka nag-bankruptcy 13 sila, they don't need to deal with, the lender will be required. Nagbigyan sila ng modification or whatnot, or change the terms ng kanilang loan. But it's not bankruptcy 13. You still need to go through a loan modification process if you want to keep the property.
Okay. Where do you think people get the misinformation about this? Like, obviously, if they file for BK13, there's a side of it that they don't see and understand, which is what we're discussing in the show. But
well, I think part of the problem is, JC, if you go to an attorney, and nothing against attorney, Carl's a great guy, but if you go to an attorney and you say, my desire is to save my home, they can put you in a BK13 and they can help you delay things and possibly save your home. The problem is some of the way they're structured financially, they should be applying other government programs because they're still underwater at the end of their 13s in many, many cases. And that's a sad scenario to see.
okay, we'll give the final word to Attorney Carl. To our viewers, for our viewers who are in a situation where they're considering BK13, what can you tell them right now?
Well, bankruptcy in Chapter 13 can be a viable option for some people, but what's most important and the takeaway that you want is that you get a comprehensive analysis and review of all of your options before you initiate any legal proceeding, whether it's a Chapter 13 or otherwise. Some people need other bankruptcy alternatives that might include Chapter 13 later, but they also need to evaluate what options they have with respect to all of their property, including their home, and evaluate whether or not their goals are being met by simply jumping into the Chapter 13.
And that's why, Rob and Ning, you guys are always available to hear from our viewers. And for those of you that have questions for Rob or Ning, or even Attorney Carl, how do we reach out to you, Rob?
Sure, JC. Capamelia, you can contact us at 888-860-9530, or you can visit us online.
All right, guys, as always, thank you for always providing valuable information to our viewers week in and week out. And Attorney Carl, we hope to see you again here on the show.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.